Hey CAFS crew, hope you guys are having a really good day today. Welcome to week 2 of the school holidays. I hope that the start has been okay for you and you are managing okay at home. Please let me know who is on here. Please type in the comments below so I can see some familiar faces but also some new ones. I hope that many of you guys were able to get the workbook that I shared just recently. So if you want to download that, you can have that on your screen while I have a chat. Obviously, as a teacher, I don't want to talk to the booklet, but it's going to be there as a resource for you guys to be able to go back onto to use in your classroom, but also to take away from this afternoon and our sessions throughout the week. So let me know who is on here. Just wait for a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. Let me know how your holidays has been and if you're managing to have some time to yourself. So I'm just going to test the technology. Hey Nikki, how you going? I hope your holidays are going well. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys next week in your Year 12 Masterclass. Hope your CAFS crew is going okay. All right, can you guys see that okay? Let me know if you can. A thumbs up or a happy face emoji or something to let me know if that booklet is appearing okay for you guys. Beautiful. Just need to make sure I can actually scroll on that. Awesome. So if you want me to see who is on here, you just have to allow access. At the moment, I can't see your name. So it says StreamYard, like allow notification. So please let me know if you can just tick on that, then I can see who you are. Hey Barb, nice to see you. Hope you're going well. Hey Naomi, hope you are having a really good holiday as well. My pleasure. Awesome. I love sharing my experience. Those of you guys who have worked with me before, you would know that I love sharing all I have learnt about CAFS. So it's absolute pleasure to have you guys here. Okay, let's get started. So those of you who haven't met me before, my name is Kell Bell and I've been teaching CAFS for 16 years. And I absolutely love this course. If you haven't been around here before, huge welcome. This is the Learning Network and I'm absolutely honoured to support you guys in here. This has been an absolute dream of mine and I kind of have to pinch myself to think about what I'm currently doing. I left the classroom last year after a bit of a bad spot, I suppose, but an absolute silver lining to last year and I couldn't be more happier than doing what I'm doing at the moment. And I'm absolutely loving supporting you guys in a more formal sense throughout my courses and my coaching and mentoring, as well as working with your students in our Year 12 Masterclasses, which will be kicking off again this term and early into next term. So a huge welcome to you guys. Thanks for joining the Savo. I know it's your holidays. So I'm sharing with you everything I have learnt in the CAFS world over the last 16 years, but also fast-tracking your journey to success, because I've been there and done it. I've been exactly like you. I've been in your position before, and I want your students to achieve, and I want them to achieve it in the fastest way possible. So the first thing I really want to talk about is establishing positive relationships, and we know that goes without saying, but I think it's really important for our kids to understand that they need to be working together, especially at this time of the year, coming up to trials, moving into the HSC. Those kids in your classes need to work together to improve their results, to improve their success in CAFS. And what that looks like might be them working together in small study groups, them really, bouncing ideas off each other, looking at what success looks like. So if there's a really good student in your class who is working at a higher level, you giving those kids the opportunity to shine and to share what they have learned, to share their skills with the whole class. So really dispelling those myths about the kids keeping it to themselves. It is really about those kids sharing and bringing their expertise, their experience, but also they're gifts. And I think that really needs to be celebrated. The kids sharing ideas and really just making life so much easier for them. Because at the end of the day, their results go in together, and it's important that our average is super high so our students are set up for success, so they can actually maximize their results in the HSC. If, you know, that's saying if we all do well, we all are going to do well. And I think that's really important for the kids to have that really clear, you know, realization that it is about them to working together. They're not against each other, they're against the state. So it's really important for the kids to be working together and to really work out what needs to be done to help the whole cohort. So you could have I've said this before, you could have the most amazing teacher in the world, you know, but if they can't connect with the kids, if we can't connect with our students, those people who are in our classroom, then we're kind of only halfway there. Please let me know what you do currently to establish positive relationships with your students. So I'd really love for you guys to type in the comments what you currently do to really build on those relationships with your students, how you might share success in your CAFS classroom, because I really think that is often the missing ingredient in our course and in lots of HSC courses, that the kids aren't working together. Or you might have a really great teacher who's so focused on the content, but they forget to build those really important relationships with the kids. So let me know what you think. I'd really love for you guys to comment in below what you currently do to build relationships in your CAFS classroom. And as you guys type, it is really about making those real connections, connecting with the kids where they are right now in their journey. So it is really about connecting with them, their experiences, you know, where they've come from, their family situation, their community, you know, what's happening in that wider community for them, their interests. You know, if we know that they, you know, have been learning to play the guitar, we could talk about that. Or possibly if they've, you know, been to the State Cup for touch, what does that look like? So just connecting with them, their life, and also making a really good connection with, you know, with what's happening for them, but also bringing that sometimes into our classroom. And I think it's really important for the kids to look at that and to kind of go, this is what's happening for me. How can I connect that with what we're doing in the CAFS classroom? Little informal note to say how I've noticed them grow in their strengths. I love that. I'm not sure who posts that, but that's really great. It's really lovely to, you know, for the kids to know that you're on their side, that you're a huge advocate for them and that you're cheering for them all the way through. I think something that I've been sharing within a lot of my courses and my coaching and mentoring is about the kids talking in third person and using their own experience to possibly be like their examples or their situations or their case studies, so they can use those experiences to then talk about those in questions and exams and that sort of thing. I'm not sure, again, I'm not sure who is sharing this. I think this might be you, Nikki, but you've mentioned that you also have your students writing short notes on each other's positives and strengths. Love that. And someone else, I'm not sure if it's you as well, using the gratitude jar. Chocolate Appreciation Society, Nick, I think this is you. We also have an ongoing competition, CAFS Crew Championships, where I try to link into my students' likes to make them more relevant to them. Chocolate and lolly day once a week. Yeah, I think food is often a pathway to success. I think lots of us can really resonate with that. So food, bringing little goodies, you know, to your study sessions or your recess sessions, or you know, Fridays I know are a great way to bring food in, or if you're doing a lunchtime session, providing snacks to the kids. You know what they're like, they'll come for food. So I wanted to really start with that because I thought I could flip it and kind of talk about the 5 things that I think are really important, but I think the main one is about establishing relationships and building on those relationships all the way through, and you being who you are, an amazing person, and the kids seeing you in that light. Okay, so for me, this has looked like quite a few different things. And as you can see, there's a plethora of ideas that I'm sharing with you guys. But these are some of my tried and true tested strategies that I share in a lot more detail in Strive. And many of you guys have signed up for that. But it is about the physical environment, the physical classroom environment that you might tweak and change, whether it be putting the kids in cooperative learning groups, or moving the furniture around, adding, you know, some aesthetics, adding that really positive classroom environment you know, to kind of invite the kids along. Also sharing some physical resources like mini whiteboards or gratitude jars, I think Nikki mentioned, you know, using the whole space that you have. Those 4 walls, if you're in a physical classroom, are so important. But if you're in a virtual classroom and you're teaching online, whether it be, you know, during online learning, during some sort of lockdown, or possibly if you're in a distance learning space, is making that environment, that digital environment, also really inviting for the kids. So little check-ins, little notes, you know, making it really colourful and inviting for the kids. The other thing that I often would do was just making it, you know, a really positive space where you might have, as Nikki mentioned, team challenges, birthdays, class parties, Kris Kringle, all those little things that you might add to your classroom to just make it really comfortable for the kids, so they love coming. From like a more an emotional kind of connection, really encouraging risk-taking and problem-solving, fostering that positive mindset, whether it be some setting some goals with the kids, them doing some self-reflection, either through like a journal or a gratitude journal or a list, that sort of thing, but just genuinely giving the kids an opportunity to share, to grow together. And then from a spiritual perspective, we could look at, you know, involving music in the classroom, maybe even including some quiet space and meditation, some mindfulness, you know, maybe incorporating that gratitude jar there, some reflection. If you're in a religious school, you might have like a sacred space, or you might have a prayer space where you guys might, you know, use that as a reflection time, whatever it might be. But it is really about building that classroom so the kids feel super comfortable coming in there, but also really love being there. So they will work with you and for you. We know for ourselves, if we feel super comfortable with someone or something, or if the environment is right, we're going to feel comfortable to take risks, to step outside our comfort zone. And I think it is about that, establishing that really positive learning environment, but also that physical space as well as that emotional space for the kids to connect with you. Okay, I'm not going to talk at this, but you guys have been there and done that. Some of you are in your 20th year of teaching. Some of you guys are in your first year of teaching. And I want you guys to be really happy and to be really, you know, grateful for where you are. Everyone started at a different position. Many of us were thrown in the deep end and asked to teach a CAFS class, whether it was outside of our comfort zone, or if we had taught stage 6 PE or hospital or food tech before, or if it was in our first year of teaching. And that was me. I was in my first year of teaching. I had a beautiful coordinator who trusted me and said, this is your baby. I've got, you know, stage 6 PE. I would love for you to take this on. And I was nervous as hell, but I made it my own. And, you know, I absolutely love CAFS. But I think it is, we do come from a long journey. For me, it was the syllabus, the textbook, and that was about it. So I think we're really lucky. Our course is so inviting. It is super positive. And I think over the years, with lots of different opportunities that I've been afforded, I've been able to uncover some of the secrets to success, or the pathway to success in CAFS. So I didn't kind of, you know it all. At university, we know that CAFS isn't really focused on. That's kind of a bit of a mission, as a side note, a bit of a mission of mine to hopefully break down that barrier that a lot of first year outs come into the teaching space. They have no idea about CAFS. They might have done it for 1 or 2 weeks at uni. They come into it and they're teaching it for the first time. I want you guys to be super supported. And I'm not even talking about our first year out. So I really think there's 5 main areas that we can focus on to really strip the content right back and to focus on these things with our kids, getting those 5 ingredients right, or those 5 areas right, to build on those throughout our time, but also to focus on them because it is needed. So why do we need a combination of these things? Well, our performance band descriptors and our common grade scale tell us that our kids don't or can't just have that content knowledge and understanding. They need to have a broader picture. They need to have that. Sorry, I'm just moving my screen across. They need to have the skills as well as that knowledge and understanding. So for our common grade scale, for that A level, it's really extensive knowledge and understanding. It's highly developed skills. It's creative and critical thinking. It's effectively communicating that. It's like a whole package. It's not just knowing the content really well, it's actually putting all these things together. Again, our performance band descriptors for the band 6 is exactly like that as well. Extensive knowledge and understanding, superior understanding and application of those research methodologies. You're predicting, the kids are using valid judgments, proposing and sustaining arguments. It's not just about the content. And I think many of you guys have been listening really well because I've been talking about this for quite some time. We need to strip the content right back. We need to go back to basics because our kids need those really important skills to show what they know, but also to get the most out of our course. If we are just getting them to regurgitate info, if they're just, like a textbook, it's not teaching them much. It's teaching them how to regurgitate info, that quick recall, but it isn't really creating that depth of knowledge that we want in CAFS. So I'm going to share with you today what I really believe the 5 main areas that we can really strengthen on with our kids. And this is just scratching the surface. Obviously, within, half an hour, it's going to be hard to kind of delve into all of it. But hopefully, as a result of what I introduced today, it might get you to think about some of these things. So I want you guys to type in the chat space for me. What is the one thing out of these 5 areas that you think your kids might need the most help with? So my 5 areas are, so a CAFS teacher knows that there is a recipe to success in CAFS. These are the 5 main areas that I believe that our kids need to be working towards. The first one is about knowledge and understanding of the content. The next one is about the application of the glossary of keywords. You guys have heard it before. Obvious peel structure, that paragraphing structure is really consistent, it's concise, it's logical. Embedding that well-being throughout our option, of course, but also in other parts of the content. And our examples need to be really specific and really varied. So I want you guys to type in the chat space below and tell me what you think is the one thing that your current CAFS crew is maybe lacking. And if you don't have a CAFS crew at the moment and you're maybe teaching CAFS next year, think about something that you think that your current class might need some help in. If it's a 7 to 10 PE or 7 to 10 TAS group, have a think about what they might need to work on at this point in time. So I'll give you guys a moment to type in the chat space what you think your CAFS crew need the most help with. It's going to be different for each group. I know at different stages, my CAFS students, peel paragraph structure. I worked at a 7 to 12 school for about 14 years, and that's something that we really kind of built from year 7. It was consistent. It was consistent from one class to the next. We're really lucky to build that up. But I really think towards the end of my career, it was probably more about, in the classroom, it was probably more about embedding that well-being, and the kids just needed to show a really clear structure, really clear pathway, scaffolding, lots of feedback to help them. Thanks, Nick. So syllabus content is what your CAFS crew is currently needing. Detail and specific examples, excellent. I'm not sure who that is, so thanks for sharing that. That's great. And I think, it varies, and even from student to student. Some of your kids might be really good with their paragraphing, but they might struggle for some other areas. And yeah, I'm not sure who this is as well, but they struggle with this, the 6 to 8 mark questions. 100%, they're the harder ones. That's what is getting the kids to apply that higher order thinking. Okay, so the first one is about that knowledge and understanding of the syllabus. Our syllabus is so broad. We kind of go, well, how much depth do I kind of go into each area? And something you can start exploring your relevant CAFS. Many of you guys were part of that last year, or possibly the beginning of this year. I showed you guys what that looks like for year 11. Making those strategic connections across the course is absolutely crucial. Doing it from the beginning is so important. And I think that's something we really need to build towards, and something that I certainly didn't do when I first started teaching. I reckon it took me a good 8 years, possibly, so half of my career, to really realise the importance of connecting that course and connecting those syllabus points right across year 11 and making those touch points really, really clear. And I think further into my career, probably in the last, say, 5 to 6 years, was making that year 12 syllabus connect across that syllabus. Our syllabus, like I said, it is so broad. It's kind of like what do we focus on? And I think the movement towards that application in our HSC questions, in our exam, has been really, really critical to get the kids to apply their understanding across broader concepts. So rather than that learn to, learn about, here's a HSC question, it has moved past that. It is really about having that clear direction, which then embeds and connects concepts across the syllabus. So I think for us, it's really getting the kids to have that broader understanding of the syllabus. And when it does come to that 6 to 8 mark kind of question, of course, and that's that 15 marker for our option, getting the kids to think about, here's the syllabus, but what are some other connective points that this particular point of the syllabus has across the broader part of the syllabus? It is about having those connection points all the way through and getting the kids to really draw on that and to kind of go, okay, well, this is this part on maybe government policy and legislation, but what does it actually connect to in other parts of groups in context, that sort of thing. Okay, the next one is about the application of the glossary of keywords. And I've said it before and I'll say it again until I think we're at a point where we get it, that our kids still don't have a good understanding of the glossary of keywords. And that's for a couple of reasons. We're not starting it from year 7 or even in primary school. We're starting it when they get into year 11, possibly, if we kind of know our stuff and know what the recipe to success is. But I think we often leave it too late. We focus on it in year 12, and then it's kind of a bit too late. Like, we've only got 4 terms to get through, and then they've got their trials in the HSC. We need to start from year 7, embedding that knowledge and understanding and application of those glossary of keywords. And it's really getting the kids to kind of go from that recall, that definition, and moving towards an application of that glossary of keyword. So getting the kids to have, many of you guys would have seen my recipe to my little cards like this for the glossary of keywords. If you don't have a copy of that, I can share that with you guys after this, but displaying it, recall, having it a go, applying it again, demonstrating it, scaffolding it, showing the kids each of those steps. And there really is a step-by-step process to applying each of these glossary of keywords. You guys know what it's like. The kids often will just describe something and they really need to analyze it or assess it. So it is giving the kids scaffolds, templates to really help them apply that knowledge and understanding and application of those glossary of keywords. Inside Strive, the teachers who have been part of that literally have seen that and really seen the success that those scaffolds and those each of those little scaffolds and templates, breaking down each of those parts, is so essential for the kids because they don't know it. They don't know what they don't know. So showing them and guiding them through is really important. And I think really that focusing on those higher order ones is also important as well. Okay, that obvious peel structure. You know what I'm talking about. You read a kid's response and you're like, where's the full stops? Where's the next paragraph? Where's the transition to the next point? It's literally all over the shop. So giving the kids a really clear guideline as what that looks like, that really clear peel paragraph structure, those points, where to put what to start with, how to kind of structure it. The kids need a lot of help with this. And I think, again, starting from year 7 is super, super important. I'd love to hear from you guys what that looks like in your junior PE and TAS classes. How do you actually teach peel or seal or sexy to your kids in 7 to 10 PE and 7 to 10 TAS? I'd really love to hear from you guys and pop in the comments below. And I'd love for you guys to share what that looks like in your junior years. And as I've mentioned, really getting the kids to get it right first before they get into year 11 and 12, because often we spend, I think even at my last school, spending about 4 to 5 weeks just getting it right, just getting the kids writing right, getting them to really articulate and to show me what they knew with that clear peel paragraph was something that they really struggled with. So please let me know in the comments what that looks like for your kids in the junior years. Again, I think I was in a really unique position. We had it as a push at my old school. Worked there for 14 years, 7 to 12 all-girls Catholic school. We worked on it. But I know there are many schools out there that they don't have that consistent approach. So I'd love to hear from you guys what that looks like for your CAFS class, possibly, or even your junior years. And I think, again, displaying it for the kids so they kind of have that clear scaffold. They really know what each of those steps is really important for them. Okay. The next thing is really about embedding wellbeing. And we know that wellbeing is like the umbrella of our course. It's really that key point that connects all the bits together from our course. But really having that wellbeing applied multiple times across the course is really important. Not sure who's mentioned this, but our juniors use why paragraphs. Barb, I think this might be you. So I remember a discussion with maybe one of your colleagues about this, but it doesn't really seem to set them adequately up for seniors. Peel's much easier for CAFS. Yeah, so why is often, why are you saying this? What is the justification? Make sure you have some evidence. But I think I do agree that Peel's just easy, or TEAL, whichever acronym you guys use, just having that clear structure. You kind of go, here's the point. Here's where I'm elaborating on that point. Here's my evidence, or here's my example to back it up. And here's my link to then bring it all together. It just is just a nice little package. It brings it all together. I think it is a little bit easier in CAFS. And I think if we started that from year 7, imagine what it could look like in year 11 and, of course, into year 12. Nikki, you've mentioned that you run a whole school program called AVID. Yeah, we had AVID at my previous school. They focus on academic rigor, writing, growth mindset, skills for writing, Cornell notes. I know exactly what you're talking about. The students are taught PEEL, structure from year 7, if not early into primary years. Yep, I think that is, younger kids need to know how to do a paragraph. And it's even something that I'm working with my own children on, as how to do that. Okay, back to wellbeing. I think this isn't a common misconception about wellbeing, that it needs to be spoken about everywhere. In a past life, in a past syllabus, we had to talk about wellbeing in many parts of our in our answers for the HSC. That's no longer the case. So if your head teacher, or if your teacher who you're working with is a past CAFS person or a life management teacher, and if they're still teaching that to you, they're actually incorrect. You don't have to talk about wellbeing in every single one of your questions. That's not the case anymore. Yes, for the option in part C, or it actually states it in a question. Of course, if it states it in a question, especially for groups in context, especially for parenting and caring, of course, the kids need to talk about it. If they're talking about individual and group wellbeing, yes, they need to talk about wellbeing, but they don't have to talk about wellbeing in every single one of their answers for all parts of the exam. It's no longer required. So if you're living in a past life, please make sure that you clarify that. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you do have around that. But the option is crucial. We're going to talk about the option on Thursday, but it is really important to look at that crucial aspect, because, as I'll share with you guys on Thursday, it's literally, I think, and you can quote me on this later, but I seriously think it's a missing ingredient in CAFS. It's a game changer. Once the kids embed wellbeing in their option, it is a game changer. Okay, the other thing that many of you guys mentioned before is those specific examples. I completely get where you're coming from. They often are really waffly, they're a bit out there, or they're not really specific, they're not detailed enough, or they all sound the same. Do you guys get that? Like, do you ever have that where you have the kids say the same thing over and over again? They say Centrelink, or they say Anti-Discrimination Act is the policy that they use for every single example. Like, we need to kind of broaden their horizons. And inside Strive, I've been teaching teachers about this, having a big bank of case studies, scenarios, situations that you literally go to. As I mentioned before, getting the kids to think bigger picture, talking about themselves in third person, where they can really kind of use their own family situation or friendship situation or community situation to then talk about in their exam. We want our kids to stand out. We don't want every single student's response across New South Wales to sound exactly like the textbook or the Cambridge checkpoints in CAFS or some Google Doc that you've shared with them. It needs to be varied, it needs to be explicit, and it also needs to show off what they know. It's really the crucial aspect here. So again, thinking outside the box, linking different concepts together across the course, thinking about their own family, their own community, and bringing that into the classroom itself. So what I want you guys to think about this afternoon is how you can improve on these 5 areas. So this is for you guys, not a bit of homework, but you might like to think about what this is going to look like in your own CAFS classroom. And I was seriously in your shoes not that long ago. I taught the content way too much. I got my kids to write so many notes. It wasn't funny. Their books were jam-packed full of notes, but I wasn't teaching the skills. It was seriously something majorly missing from my classroom. And inside my coaching and mentoring, inside Strive, inside Exploring Your 11 CAFS, even strategic approaches to the IRP, which many of you guys are part of, this is seriously something that is that we need to be doing more of, stripping the content right back and teaching the skills to our kids, because it's often missing. We need these 5 areas and our kids to be doing well in these 5 areas to really move them and to really shift their results. So I'd really love for you guys to let me know what you think. So what I'll encourage you guys to do is I want you to, you can either type into this PDF that I provided to you guys, or you can take a photo, or you can print it off and write into each of these 5 areas. And I'd really love for you guys to share that in our Facebook group. I'd really love for you guys to be accountable, to share what you are thinking in regard to these 5 areas, and possibly where I can kind of tweak the next 4 days to help deliver lots more value to you, to really help you guys come away with lots of gems in the next 4 days around these 5 areas. So just want to say a huge thank you. Half an hour, I think, is a great timing point, but thank you so much for joining the Savo. Seriously, as I mentioned before, I have to pinch myself. I feel so grateful, so honoured to be able to do what I do. Literally, this is my job, and I've seriously created the dream job for myself. So I feel super honoured to have you guys, for you guys to come on today to listen, but also to share your own knowledge and your own experience. Before we finish off, I want you guys to write in the comments, what is one thing that you have taken from today that you think you need to improve on for and with your CAFS kids? So what is one thing that you think, I think the kids really need to work on this, or this is something that I'm going to action next week when they come back to school, and really in the lead up to trials and the lead up to getting your year 11s, across that finish line to finish off the course and then into their exam. So would love to hear from you guys. What is one thing you took away from today? What is one thing that you really need to work on with your kids? Because I think if we make ourselves accountable, if we write it down, if we set a goal for ourselves, I think it's going to help us a lot. So one of you guys have mentioned a variety of examples. Fantastic. I love that. And I'd really love to hear what that kind of looks like. Naomi, Wellbeing more than the option. Naomi, you will love Thursday. We look at that in a lot more detail, as well as inside Strive, which many of you guys have taken up. But just wanted to say again, a huge thank you for this afternoon. I'll see you guys again tomorrow, but please let me know what you thought of today. And I think we can kind of dig that a little bit more deeper tomorrow. Nick, you've mentioned syllabus content and wellbeing embedded at appropriate times, of course, in the option for Part C, and then as we come across it. So a huge thank you to you guys. Thank you so much. Please let me know what you're thinking, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Take care.